Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Well, GameDay Media, thank you for being here. It's awesome to have you guys here in Tioga.
Thanks, Dallas. It's a real privilege to be on swim lessons.
Yeah.
Learning how to swim.
Yes, we were just learning how to swim too with that little audio difficulty there. This is my first three-person podcast, so it's fun to have the Peterson boys here doing it up big. But I just want to quick congratulate you guys on a successful launch here of GameDay Media. And Randy, let's start with you because you've been broadcasting basketball, football games for a long time. How long has it been since you've been broadcasting?
I can't really remember. A couple of years ago when they honored me with an award of merit from the North Dakota High School Coaches Association, I had to come with a date, and I think it's been over 20-some years because
Really?
I remember broadcasting one of my son's football games down in Killdeer for KTGO Radio in Tioga, and they were a daylight radio station, and Tioga had made it to the playoffs for the first time in 21 years.
Oh, wow.
And so the owner of KTGO Radio said, they haven't been here for 21 years. Let's try to put it on the air. And I said, I'll do it on one condition, and that we try to put it on the internet back at that time. Yeah, so my daughter in Australia could listen to her brothers play football.
Oh, nice.
Down in Killdeer, and NCC over in Ray, North Dakota, and KTGO were able to partner up that internet. I think that's kind of one of the first times that had been done in North West North Dakota. And my daughter was able to listen to the brothers play football in Killdeer, North Dakota. So it's been 20 plus years.
Wow.
That I've been doing this.
That's and
as
then,
a side gig.
Did you ever think when you first started that you and your son would be launching your own little network? Was that ever in the back of your mind at all?
Up until about 2 years ago, no.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any idea that it was able to be done.
Yeah.
But the last couple of years, David and I, and mostly David, has kind of come up with a little bit of a inquisitive type thing to let's see if we can do this. We've been dreaming about it. And David said, we either need to do it now, Dad, or we need to let it go. And we decided to pull the trigger on it after the basketball season and ended in 2023 down in Bismarck. And a couple weeks later, we're in a partnership together with the GameDay Media.
Yeah.
And it's been fun.
Well, I'm glad you pulled the trigger. And I mean, we just we had supper here in Tioga, and we were talking a little bit about the story. And David, let's switch to you now. You were looking on, it was the district tournament last year for Class B boys, and you're like, Dad, there's 3,000 people on YouTube Live, no commentators, no nothing. I mean, this would be a good opportunity to capitalize on.
Yeah,
right?
it was a huge opportunity. Like him and Heath Hetzel, the Stanley Blue Jays girls basketball coach, they were over on the far side of the gym. I had the Ray YouTube page pulled up on my phone, watching as we were probably prepping to play, I don't know, the Divide County Maroons in the loser out game the following night, and instead of probably scouting or something like that, I pulled it up and I was like, holy cow, there's 3,600 people watching at this particular time. It was between Stanley and Kenmare. You probably remember. I mean, that was probably one of the best basketball games.
It was great
in the season for anybody. And so I screenshotted it, texted it over to him, and it must have been during a commercial break. You could see him pull out his phone and goes, kind of made that face of like, holy cow. And then it was just one of those things of, I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. I need you. And you need me. Yep. I need you as the voice of the area for the last 20 plus years, whether it been play-by-play or public address announcing for local athletes here in Tioga, and the technical side of it. I'm interested in some of that, but there's definitely a need for this in Northwest North Dakota, and there's the goal with probably most broadcast companies is we want to promote local athletes, local activities that go on within our school and the surrounding communities. And, we thought that we could make a run at it. And fortunately, the sponsors that we've had have been tremendous. We can't probably shout out enough to the sponsors that we had. And we put a little sales pitch together on what we plan to do and why we want to do it and stuff like that. And we kicked off in the fall. You've been a part of a couple of the broadcasts, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been kind of, we dreamed to be here, and it blew past anything that we had expected when we kind of were first daydreaming about this 2-3 years ago.
Well, it's got to be a special feeling for not only you two to be father and son, but to create something that's like we were just talking about. Beck Sports is here, which is nice. The radio, KTGO 660, whatever it is nice, but North West North Dakota was always missing that kind of live where
Right.
if the weather isn't good or somebody can't travel, or even if they're interested in a game, they can just watch it on YouTube. And to have the father-son duo, a memory that will last forever, has got to be a special feeling for you two, right?
Yeah, it's been a real pleasure to be with David.
Really?
We're both alpha A dogs or whatever they call it. So
yeah.
I'm used to being a boss. He's used to being a boss, and sometimes our heads butt, a little bit. But all in all, I think it's been a great thing for, like David said, try to promote our area athletes that don't always get a lot of attention in this part of the state. And there are some good athletes out here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping to promote those athletes as well as make a little money and help promote our clients that come on board with us. And like David said, we couldn't do it without clients. We got to have some skin in the game, and we got to have some money to be able to make this go, because we pay some of our cameramen and our board operators and things of that nature, and try to make a little money. We're capitalistic, so we want to try to do that. But I'm a retired administrator of a hospital, and I'm busier now than when I was working at the hospital.
That's awesome.
But it's fun. It helps keep my mind somewhat sharp, I think.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy talking with kids and talking to coaches in the area, and to be able to promote those guys. And it's just been a real good thing for me. I've really appreciated the fact that David trusted me to come on board with his dream, and together we're putting this GameDay Media thing out there.
A lot of questions that even I was wondering before we stepped on here was, and I don't know, David or Randy, who can answer this, but what were the first steps? What was the first steps? obviously you have the dream, but like we were talking about at dinner, there's a licensing, there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through.
The original how-to was to go to YouTube. If you're going to go, PSP Network, you talked with Tony Mueller just the other day. I watched that podcast. That was a great podcast. But PSP Network, I believe, is probably the gold standard to play-by-play coverage in our area. And I followed them. I watched a lot of their games. We first met Nick and his team down at Divide County, New Salem, down in New Salem in the first round of the playoffs. 2 years ago,
3 years ago.
whatever.
PSP did that?
Yeah,
game?
PSP
Oh,
did.
Really?
PSP did the football coverage, and I watched and kind of, behind the scenes looked, and I was like, man, I feel like we could do this. We were right above them in the press box.
Oh, wow.
Seeing what they were doing and how they could do it, and we're like, man, if we can do a quarter of how they do it, I think we'd be pretty successful. The commercials that we made from the very beginning to the commercials that I just made a couple days ago, it's just a lot of critiquing yourself. You got to be your probably hardest critic, because we want to make sure that we are representing the Bank of Tioga, NCC, Otheon Boutique. We want to represent them, get their names out there, and then we're representing ourselves, our families, our communities, and we're representing a lot of the kids in Northwest North Dakota. So, we want to make sure that we are given the best product that we can. And it was a lot of research on YouTube. A lot of YouTube is such a powerful tool. I told you, I said, how did you guys raise kids without YouTube? Or without Google or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of research. I got 3 kids at home. My wife is at home. I work a full-time job here at Hess Corporation in Tioga. So, and on top of doing this, people probably think I'm half nuts, but I love it. And it's been, the how-tos is just study. Just like you're probably studying, researching, following other podcasts and see what they do, how they do it, mimic the best. What's the quote is, imitation is the best form of flattery.
Yeah.
And you want to try and imitate some of the best networks that are out there, and to be considered one of the best streaming companies in North Dakota.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of research, the dollar.
Yeah.
As equipment,
Spendy.
You buy a $6,000 camera, and by the end of the week, it's out at $8,000.
Yeah.
So
true.
it's just a lot of trust and a lot of techie. You need internet, you need a camera, you need a voice, a microphone to record, and you can do just about anything with that type of technology.
And a lot of adapting on the fly. You know what I mean? Something can go haywire, no Wi-Fi here, just a lot of little hoops that people that tune in don't think about that there is.
We had a friend that was broadcasting with us, Heidi Barman. She said, people have no clue what goes into this. People look up at the broadcast booth and say, oh, they got a microphone and a computer.
Yep.
And there's so much more that goes into it we were at the region tournament. We were 30 minutes and 37 seconds into our broadcast, and the computer decided to do a hard restart. Everything shut down.
So what'd you do?
I just looked at my high school kid that was sitting there, Eli Clark, Caden Keller, Nick Walla, James Myers, and Owen Miller. Those guys all are high school students here in Tioga. Rock solid. I mean, without any of those kids, we'd be nothing. And I looked up at Eli and I was like, what do I do?
What do we do now?
What do we do? You've never had it before.
Yeah.
So you got 600 some people watching, and all of a sudden the thing goes out, and everything on YouTube is via link. And so I just reuse link, and away we go, and we're back up running. Probably missed 3 minutes of game action.
Oh wow.
And you just can't get your feathers ruffled up because people will sense that when you're having issues behind the camera or behind the microphones and stuff. But you just kind of roll with the punches, and nothing's deliberate, obviously, but stuff happens.
100%.
And you just try to continue on and push forward with whatever you're doing.
Well, you guys were talking about streaming wise, and you're well on your way. I mean, it looks very professional. The sound is great, the bottom bar, and then you got everything with the sponsorship. And Randy, for a question for you is, when you go into this, is there a certain, I like asking announcers, but is there a certain mindset that you have where you take into a game, or what does Randy think about pre-game? What's kind of your hype up speech for yourself?
Well, that's a good question. I try to concentrate on the game at hand, and who's going to be playing. And I'm got a little bit butterflies in my stomach, just like a player does, as we want to put out a great broadcast and let our viewers enjoy what we have to offer. But I want to make sure I don't trip over my tongue too many times. And I have a lot of people in my ear sometimes telling me this, telling me that, and try to sort that all out. But it's all good. And I have a mindset of trying to do the best that we can do. And I'm not a professional commentator by any means. I didn't go to any broadcasting school or any sports broadcasting school. You can probably notice that when I trip over my tongue a little bit, but I've just learned through experience that I enjoy the game. I enjoy sports in general, and I like what I'm doing. And my goal is to provide the best that I can do and offer the best that we can do for the athletes and our clients that are helping us do this.
I think one thing, just to probably trail off of what you're saying, is, Dallas, you've worked with us over the football season a couple different times, and the player by first name, last name, most likely their parents, their grandparents.
Yep.
And you and I are sitting there looking at, all right, number 4 is, whoever.
Yeah.
And that she's getting the ball before she even has the ball, and I think that brings a lot to it. You're not saying, number 4 has the ball, she just shot it. It's that person's name, and they're getting the recognition for that, of being able to be identified as a person versus a number. I think
definitely
it's just
a special talent. I mean,
it's a lot of homework.
Yeah.
I mean, you see these teams and kids a lot during the season. They kind of become your kids, oddly enough, but you just start to memorize who's who. And I think it's a talent that probably people don't understand so much, because you and I look at the program, like I said, and we're trying to fumble to see who number 6 is or whatever. But it's just the memory of the kids and stuff, to me, is like, man, that's pretty sharp there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Randy,
I would say that football is probably the hardest sport for me to broadcast, in the fact that you're quite a ways away from the football field. Sometimes you got to have binoculars to see some of these numbers on some of the uniforms. And you don't get to see their face, through the football mask. And so you rely on knowing who the running back is, knowing who the quarterback is, knowing who the wide receivers or the tight ends are, because they're the ones that are going to be announced quite often because they're the ones that are handling the ball. And sometimes the offense and defensive line doesn't get the notoriety that they probably should get.
Yep.
Because without the lines, you don't have any running backs and things of that nature. But football by far is my hardest sport to broadcast. And a few years ago, when I joined up with KTGO on the radio, they asked if I'd want to do some volleyball. They wanted me to do volleyball. And I said, well, that's a new sport for me, guys.
Yeah.
And so actually, the volleyball and basketball right up there, right at the top of the list for me as far as fun broadcasting events. Volleyball has been a real fun sport for me to broadcast along with basketball.
Guys did that too,
Dallas, you got any background in wrestling?
No, zero.
We're going to
WWE.
We're going to be broadcasting Williams County Firestorm Wrestling Triangular.
Really?
In January. So there's been a couple people that have asked us about doing it, and we're like, sure, you're probably not going to get a very good play-by-play because there's two people here that are basketball junkies and football, but we will find somebody that knows wrestling and knows, that will do justice of it. So that's something that we're looking forward to is being able to do a wrestling broadcast.
Maybe we should bring Chris up. He knows a little bit about wrestling, probably knows the number of holes in the ceiling.
He knows how many lights are in every gym.
Yeah, no kidding. Are you guys ever thought about doing track? Not really. It's tough.
It would be kind of fun to do. Like you'd probably have to have. There's a guy I know who does PA for the horse racing out in Belcourt.
Oh,
who could maybe you could have a 400-meter dash
down the stretch.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe open your own door.
Fun.
Open your own door there.
Open my own door. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, we considered like it's just a lot of. I'm sure it's doable.
Yeah.
But how do you golf? You could probably follow the golf people around. You could probably follow cross country, here and there, set wireless cameras up and stuff like that, being able to do that. But I mean, the opportunities to stream, like I said, you have internet, you have a microphone, you have a computer, you can do pretty much anything anywhere.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It was kind of neat. The other night we were broadcasting the game between the Surrey Mustangs and the Tioga Lady Pirates back in December here, and we got stopped before we went on the air. And one of the grandparents and one of the Pirates players was thanking us for doing what we're doing because they can go back to town or where they're from and listen in to all the games. And they said, by the way, our son over in Saudi Arabia is going to be tuning in tonight to watch his niece play, basketball, and so. You're around the world 8 hours ahead of us and around the world over in the Middle East, and he's able to pull up on his computer and watch his niece play basketball, which I thought was really kind of neat.
Yeah, that's tough to beat that.
The power of the internet. We had people watching from Anchorage, Alaska. We had people watching from Minneapolis area. So it's just that's what we wanted to do, was to let grandma and grandpa, aunts and uncles, stuff like that, be able to find out, see how their favorite niece or nephew did, and just the power of the internet is used in the correct way, can be a very powerful tool.
Yeah, and one thing too I wanted to talk to you guys about were some of these rules, like with NFHS and Huddle and stuff like that. So when you guys go, you have to pay extra to do like tournaments, right?
When it becomes a North Dakota High School Activities Association sanctioned event, such as a regional volleyball match or a regional basketball or state basketball or the postseason in football, the North Dakota High School Activities Association requires a right to be able to broadcast that.
Okay.
And depending on whether you're audio only, like a radio station, is a certain fee. But if you want to do a live video presentation of the game, it's a higher fee, of course. And so, it's on us if we can get the revenue generated to be able to come out on it. But one of the hurdles that is in front of us is that Beck TV, the big dog in North Dakota, they really are as far as that coverage goes, and they do a great job. Yep. But they have the first right of refusal for all these postseason tournaments. And if they don't elect to pick up those tournaments, then it comes to another hurdle with NFHS. And they have the second right to broadcast the game. And so maybe we need to turn our lights back on.
Speaking of adapt and dying, the lights just went out, but we're back.
So maybe I could continue on
go ahead,
with
Randy.
with the rules and the regulations that the High School Activity Association has. And the second hurdle is NFHS. If there's an NFHS camera that's at the venue of the tournament, they have the right for that, and that shuts us out. So the Region 8 tournament was held up at the well at Williston State College. Beck decided not to pick up that tournament. Mm-hmm. There's also not a NFHS camera in that venue. And so we had the right to pay a fee to the North Dakota High School Activities Association to pick up that Region 8 tournament, 8 games. And we paid the fee, gladly did it, and went out to our sponsors. And just about every sponsor said, yeah, we're going to go on board with GameDay Media to be able to have that tournament on the air. And so we generated some money on that, paid the fee to the North Dakota High School Activities Association, and paid our people for 8 games that we broadcast up there, 8 matches, I should say. And that's one of the things as a small streaming service, the hurdles that we need to go over, I guess. And we'll see how basketball ends up.
Did you guys know about those hurdles before you launched it? Like you knew that was going to be kind of a tough one to get over?
Yeah, we knew that was going to be part of it just because working with KTGO, there is fees via audio too. It's just, significantly smaller. Mm-hmm. But we knew KTGO probably sent out an email to you or something about it's going to be X dollars to be able to audio, and then you see the video and you're like, holy smokes, that's a giant fee.
Pretty big jump.
Yeah. Pretty steep fee to be able to do this. And then one part that, we've kind of had some conversations about is once we purchase that card, we don't have exclusive tagged to us. So we purchase a card. Does that give streaming company B the opportunity to buy the same card and set a camera right next to us?
Right.
Some of the fine print probably needs to be visited or maybe more clearly explained to the service providers or us, because we want to be exclusive. We want to be considered, one of the best streaming companies in North Dakota, being able to cover from Minot West to Montana. That's kind of our goal, is to be the exclusive streaming company out in North West North Dakota.
Yeah.
This 3-class system is going to raise some different questions, now that the state of North Dakota has 3 class in basketball, and another year after next year, there'll be 3 class in volleyball too. So, there's a lot more postseason tournaments that are going to be controlled by the North Dakota High School Activities Association. And, we want to be there to be able to promote Northwest North Dakota, especially, and we want to be able to make some money at it, and we want to make sure our clients and our athletes up here in Northwest North Dakota get the attention that they need.
That was another big push of when we were daydreaming about doing this. Hey, I heard it might be a 3-class system for boys and girls basketball next year. And finally, the trigger was pulled, which I think, as we're starting to find out, I think that's going to be a good thing for the state of North Dakota to be able to have 3-class systems. And I mean, we're talking between ourselves when we were talking about doing this. I mean, if we're going to go, we better go now, because right now, I mean, one company can't be everywhere.
Right.
Somebody's got to be in Williston or Minot or, wherever. So somebody's got to be there. So we feel like it was a good chance to jump head first with no parachute or anything like that. So it was the right time to do it. And I think the state nailed it by going to that 3-class system. I'm sure they'll probably nail it with the 3-class volleyball system. It makes everything a little bit more competitive. We've seen in the girls' games that we've covered just recently the new fouls, the foul rules.
Yeah, how has that been working out? Was it kind of squirrely there in that first game?
You get Uncle Tom in the stand still. That's bonus. That's bonus. So that kind of takes a little bit getting used to.
Yeah.
I think.
What exactly is it? So it just resets the total foul count. Resets every quarter.
Yep. So you're allowed 5 fouls, and on your 5th foul, you go into a double bonus.
So it's double bonus right away.
So there's no more single bonus or anything like that. You get 5 fouls, which in my opinion, I think if you have the personnel, it allows you to play a little bit more aggressive. You don't have two fouls going into halftime and you got to start fouling or end of the game or something like that. It allows you to play a little bit more aggressively, I think. But it's a learning curve. But I think, again, it speeds up the pace of the game. It probably, we've noticed it for sure in the 3 or 4 girls basketball games. There's more, I don't care if you get foul 1 or foul 2, we're just fine. Everything resets in a minute.
Right.
But yeah, I think the state hit it right, but there's some obstacles that we have to probably overcome in order. We're considered third party streaming service for that. But again, we want to be recognized as one of the premier streaming service companies in North Dakota.
So what's the future look like, Randy?
What's the future look like
for Game Day?
I think it's bright.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had a lot of positive comments from people that come up and talk to us that they appreciate GameDay Media being able to put this out over the internet and being able to watch the game when they can't attend the game. We certainly encourage everybody to show up in the gym because kids like to see fans in the stands, right?
Yeah,
and
that's a great point, actually. Yeah,
but that's what we tell a lot of people is don't watch us.
Yeah,
go to the games and watch. Support those kids. But yeah, sorry, but that was one big thing that
big.
Don't stay home and watch us. Go to the game.
But for those fans that can't get out or the little struggle driving at night, so to speak, especially in the winter months, it's. Like my mother, she's 89 years old. She tunes in. She gets on.
That's
watches
awesome.
the game.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We got her fixed up. She was our 10th subscriber or something like that on
awesome.
YouTube. So yeah, and so then people are like, I don't know how to do it, and I say, you know what? My grandma, 89,
she can do
88 or 89, can figure it out. So can you.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, get your 7-year-old grandkid to help you.
Yeah, exactly.
Great grandkid.
Yeah, I'd say the future for GameDay Media is unknown. Obviously, we would like to expand like any other business, any other company. But with that comes personnel.
Yeah.
People that we don't want Joe Blow coming in. We want people that are knowledgeable of whatever they're broadcasting, color commentary, play-by-play type stuff. The hardest part is probably being able to find another computer board operator, a cameraman, trying to the 5 kids now that we have from day one to last night have absolutely blown our expectations out of the water of how good they are at what they do. I mean, we kind of handpicked them because the church in the Zion Lutheran Church in Tioga, 2 of the guys run the streaming show for Zion Lutheran Church, and the other one runs the stream for the Assembly of God here in Tioga. So we saw them. We're like, those guys would be perfect fit for that. But as we look to maybe expand, where do you expand? What do you cover? Do you cover WDA? Do you cover Class A? Do you cover the Class A configuration with the Stanley, Newtowns areas around here? Do you go down into the Watford City area? Do you go, the opportunities are, if we could just clone ourselves, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, we had an article with the Tioga Tribune earlier this summer, and they're like, what's the end goal? And we're like,
don't know,
man.
Yeah.
It's so exciting to see where we've come, what we've started to, what could potentially be around the corner of having a second crew running around covering more games and more events and stuff like that. So, I'd say the opportunities for GameDay Media is
sky's the limit.
Yeah, sky's the limit. Yeah,
that's awesome. Randy, you were saying?
Well, just with the 3-class system, we have some decisions to make as we come to the postseason in basketball with a district tournament that now doesn't include Stanley because Stanley's in that next level higher up. And, we want to give them coverage as well. And so how do we do that? Does that mean buying another set of cameras and finding another play-by-play guy and board ops and cameraman and cover that tournament as well, along with the district tournaments that are taking place now in District 7 for both girls and boys. And so, there's a lot of question marks yet to be answered, but we're going to try to do our best to provide the best quality product that we can do with the resources that we have. Mm-hmm. And we're looking forward to the challenge. And we have a tagline in our GameDay Media. It's called More Than a Game.
Mm-hmm.
And so we want to do more than games. We've had an interview with a young lady that qualified for the National FFA band down in Indianapolis from Tioga here.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we talked to her. We've been at a couple of pep rallies for the Tioga Pirate Boosters.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some fall pep rallies. And so we're open to that. I mean, we're open to wrestling. And like I said, we're not much of a wrestling family, but
Right.
you're gonna
learn
we're there
YouTube
for,
it.
we're there we're there for the kids. I know half Nelson and I know Pin. That's
Yeah.
about all I know. And
Yeah.
but there's somebody out there that could probably help us with that. And our job is to find that person and to provide a quality broadcast in wrestling. But More Than a Game is our tagline for GameDay Media, and we'll see where it takes us.
Who came up with the GameDay Media name? David. Okay.
Actually, shout out my wife kind of did.
Okay.
It's game ready, game, and we just are kind of whatever rolls off the tongue, kind of looks cool, looks neat, kind of looks up to snuff, and like GameDay Network. No, we're not a network. GameDay, I thought like North West Media because we're being in North West North Dakota, and I'm pretty sure that she said, "What about GameDay Media?" It's like,
boom.
Yeah,
that's a great name. I like it.
And then we talked about doing this or doing that as far as something other than a game or a sport, and like, well, GameDay Media, More Than a Game. It was sitting on our couch, and I texted my dad and said, "What do you think?" And then we had a couple of promo drawings that we decided to go with or go against, and we put them up to a vote, and this is what we ended up with.
That's awesome. And your brother Chris.
Yep.
He does a lot of the not logos, but merchandise for area teams and area.
Yeah. So he he's our go-to as far as merchandise. So all of the stuff that we got is through him, his company, Game One. They got all the hats. I trust when he says these are the best hats people want, or these are the nicest sweatshirts or the vests or the shirts or whatever. I said, sure, line us up. We want to make sure that people know who we are, banners and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you do put a lot of time and thought into what you are delivering to people. You want to be recognized by your logo and say, oh, GameDay's here, GameDay's at this game. We want to be covering the biggest games that our fans want to watch. But yeah, GameDay was just sitting on the couch.
That's awesome.
Saturday afternoon, probably before at the end of when Tioga got beat out by Divide County in the district tournament. Not going to let that go, Dallas.
That's good.
I was going to say, this is probably the first time you've been in Tioga since you guys took that victory from us late December.
Yep.
Whatever that was. That was an excellent game.
Of course, fun.
Of course, you had your friend there doing the DC Classic video work, and I watched that, which was incredible.
Yeah,
the DC
Nick
Classic
Tantillo,
video was
that was fun.
Yeah,
that was so cool to be able to see that. And of course, there's the video. Wyatt Carabello driving down the middle of the lane.
Yep.
Or no, Holman. He missed the shot at the end and go down to the locker room, of course, and the water bottles go banging and flying. I'm like, freaking Dallas.
Well, that was an insane game because we called it. I can't remember if you guys called timeout or I called a timeout, but it was a big 2-point district game. So it was a big thing.
It was huge. And Holman, he went right down, and for whatever.
I told the kids, let anybody but Holman shoot.
Yeah.
Don't let him shoot.
Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Sure enough.
He gets a wide open layup. And the ball, home court rims bounced that way versus around.
Going in. But yeah, that was. You had a good team, man. It was so fun following you. We followed you guys into the region tournament.
Yeah.
Covering you guys on AM 1090 KTGO. It was a lot of fun doing that. So it's just fun seeing that, building the camaraderie between ourselves and what we do and what you're doing with your podcast and stuff like that. It's getting resources and the connections from people to people is, and what everybody's doing out here is so exciting. Your podcast is. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It, man.
You're in Green Bay, the one I watched. I'm like, what is he? Are you going to dig up? Freaking Vince Lombardi?
Vince Lombardi, no kidding.
Only Dallas Hansen gets on the field. Probably going to interview Brett Favre or something cool like that. But yeah, keep it up, man. They're keep them cranking. We're looking forward to them.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys doing this today. We've been at this for right around 40 minutes. So I'm going to do, like I said, it's my first time doing 3 people. So I'm going to start with you, Randy.
Okay.
Swim Lessons is a podcast about overcoming the tough times. Not every day is, hunky-dory, the best, but what's something that Radio Randy says to himself when his back's up against the wall and you're kind of going up against the grain, if you will?
Well, doing 3 days in a row with 8 games is tough on a 66-year-old voice.
Yeah.
And, it's a fun thing to do, but I don't count it as work. I count it as fun. And, I'm probably singing bass better than ever after those tournaments are over with because my voice is pretty sore, but I don't know. I treat it as kind of a labor of love. I mean, I like it. And, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. And I just enjoy being around kids, being around the coaches. And, when I first started out on this gig, they were kind of wondering who this guy was, and now I am on a first name basis with most coaches, and they're glad to see me. And they're glad to see GameDay Media now come into their gyms. And we haven't really had any pushback per se as to causing problems or getting in the way of anybody. We try to stay out of everybody's way, but our job, like David and I have talked about, is to try to promote our athletes in North West North Dakota, or whoever that may be, whether it's an athlete or a musician or whoever that may be, to give them the notoriety that they deserve. And that's what we do. And our other job is, of course, to help our clients that have invested in us to be able to gain their confidence with the views that we have of all of our products. And through the fall season this year, we've had over 30,000 views of the 40-some games that we did. And, that's 40,000 views that our clients are being able to have their potential customers see. And hopefully they've gained some notoriety from it as well and increase their sales or increase their goodwill. A lot of them don't need the advertising, but they do it for the goodwill, and we appreciate that as well. And I really haven't had, other than a few arguments that we've had between each other, threatening to quit and whatever. Cut that. No, but we can sit back and we can laugh at it. We can learn from it, and we can go on from it. And I think we're getting more accustomed to it. I think the biggest challenge that I have, Dallas, is when David's not around to help manage things. We've got great kids. There's no question about that are helping us do this, but he's more of a calming effect for me, and he knows the games. And so he's able to tell me, he tells me that we're watching instead of listening. Well, I've been saying you've been listening to District 16 basketball for the last 20 some years. And, that's hard to get out of your mindset, but now they're watching, and just simple little things like that. It's a new broadcast type for me. Radio, you got to try to paint the picture for your audience because they can't see what you're seeing. They can only listen to what you're saying. And I got to be truthful because I can't lie anymore.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, 100%.
But it's fun. I just really enjoy it, and I'm glad David and we decided to do this. And I think there's good things in store for us.
Yeah, great answer, David. Same question to you. What's something you do to get over the rough patch?
The rough patch, again, to tail off of that, there really isn't a rough patch that we've had thus far, but I would say more of not so much of a rough patch, but like when you can, what you're doing and you're confident in what you're doing, bet on yourself. Make that trust yourself, trust what you're doing, because you know what you're doing, you're confident in what you're doing. Take a gamble on yourself. Take a gamble in life. I mean, we put the money out of our wallet in the credit card to buy all the equipment, and that's quite an investment with the cost of electronics and stuff like that. And trust what we're doing, trust that we can be very good at what we're doing, and like I said, just gamble on yourself, be confident in what you're doing, and it's been a win-win for us, and any kind of tough times is You don't have to get your feathers ruffled. It's fun. It should be fun what we're doing. That's the reason why we're doing it, is to have fun doing it. And just take game by game and day by day. And there really isn't a whole lot to get. I try to be the calming effect because I can sense probably family, like families are most harmonies sound best, and we can take from each other. I know when he's about ready to stop talking, and he knows when I'm about ready. We know the game and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been trying, like Tony said in his thing the other day. Family's tough to work with at times, but it's very rewarding in the same sense. So take a gamble on yourself. Trust what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with investing in yourself.
One more point, Dallas, is that for the radio, I've been told I have a face for radio. and we've just we've just incorporated a wireless mic into our technology, and so we're trying to open up our broadcasts in the pregame show with a live view of me somewhere on the court. And
okay,
I told Dave we need to find a hot sideline reporter. To do this.
So if you know sports and you're relatively good looking,
there you go.
You work for next to nothing.
We'll take
right up
your alley. Yeah,
we'll take you.
Let's do a quick plug. Where can people find you on every network?
So it's cool. You can go to YouTube, obviously. GameDay Media ND on YouTube is our channel. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, do all that kind of stuff. Share it with everybody. We're also on Facebook. We kind of post our games, the links of where we'll be. We also, which is kind of unique to probably just GameDay Media. I don't know if any other streaming company does it, but AM 1090 KTGO, Flag Family Media in Fargo buys our content of the audio.
Really?
So we're also over the radio airwaves still. Steve Hallstrom with Flag Family Media, as soon as the resignation came from, this is what we're going to do. I mean, the immediate next response from Steve was, how can we help?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, that was like, we're like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And that's going to be it. And he come back with that. We're like, not really sure what to think, but so yeah, people that still rely on the radio, they do get our feed from it. They get a couple of games per week here and there, maybe 2 to 3 games a week. They kind of pick and choose which games. And we figured out that when we do the game, we're together, we go to commercial, they go to commercial, and we come back together. And everything, with the producers that we've gotten to know over the past couple of years with KTGO, they tell us everything's going good. We kind of we try to meet maybe quarterly with them and figure out, what do we need to do better? What do they need to do better and stuff like that. But so you can listen on the KTGO mobile app, on AM 1090 KTGO online, and GameDay Media ND on YouTube and Facebook. Awesome. That's where a lot of our notifications and stuff like that are. So,
there's no cost to subscribe.
Yeah,
enable all the notifications. You get a little blip when we're ready to go on the air, and you can tune in if you want. But with the coverage that we have, and it's just nice finding where viewers are listening from and watching from. There I go again, listening from and watching from that they're watching from. But it's just been a real treat to be able to know that we're satisfying some grandma and grandpa or aunt and uncle that can't make it to a kid's game and are able to tune in and still be a part of that kid's life.
Well, I think it's a game changer. I know I speak for a lot of people from Crosby to Vicarian. They really, really appreciate you guys doing it.
So
Thank you, Dallas.
Kudos to you guys for making the dream come true. If you build it, they will come. And we appreciate you, and thanks for coming on and taking some time. I know it's getting kind of late and got to rest up that voice, but pretty much when this
the golden voice,
the Radio Randy voice. But
you're tasked with finding something other than Radio Randy. It's got to be incorporated with. My youngest or my middle son, he goes, "Hey, Dad, are we YouTubers?"
Oh yeah,
I'm like, yeah, we are. We're YouTubers. So I don't know, like YouTuber Randy or I don't know.
We got to figure something
next
out.
time we see you, Dallas, you got to come up with something clicky for Radio Randy equivalent for YouTube.
I know. I do. I knew. That's about it. Do you guys have anything else you want to plug?
We just want to thank you and Swim Lessons Dallas for highlighting this, giving us a little bit of notoriety, and like we can go back and forth and help each other out and pat each other on the back. That sometimes goes a long way.
Yeah, 100%. Well, always be there to back you. The lights are going out, and that's it. Thanks, you guys.
Yes, thank you, Dallas.